J-Dawg back for another fucking homeboy hangout. And we got today the second lady ever on the channel. Well, if you count LCAT, that's automatically given. You're the third. But next to Deb from Lady Beast.
Oh, yeah.
And this is Elyse from the band Avowal. Am I pronouncing that good, right? Because everybody says I pronounce shit wrong.
No, that's right.
Is
that's
pronounced
right.
correct?
Like, I would like to buy Avowal. I hear that all the time.
Did you come up with that name?
It did. Yeah.
And what was your reasoning behind that? Like, why did you?
It was like a promise. So it means like just do it. I had a kid younger and promised I would like get back to music eventually, but I wanted to do the mom thing, process like certain things I had been through, and kind of find a sound that was like my own, because I love music. I'll go to local shows. I'll do everything. But like I feel like kind of the direction it's gone is like everybody does this, like they stick to formulas because that's what's marketable, that's what's out there. And I love so much of metal, and sometimes that can be kind of taboo, because people like this is death metal, this is grind, this is black metal, this is this, but I'm like, I really like it all. I just want to like put it in a pot and mix it up, and and I really like bands that do that too. What
was the official year the band actually started? Not the bullshit Entrails year 1992, and then their first demo comes out in 2009 bullshit either. So what were we doing for 17 years? What's the real year?
Well, like the real year the first thing came out was 2020, but that had been recorded in 19. It was conceptualized in 2017, I think, is like around the time I got like started fully writing, making the concept of the band, and then the stupid fucking pandemic delayed everything, and and that's when it came out.
And you guys have actual physical format stuff out there? Mm-hmm. Because what all do you have? Because you sent me some Bandcamp stuff. That's why I listened to it on. You didn't give me any physical copies.
Did I?
No, you did.
I can hand you a vinyl and a CD right now.
But yeah, I listened to, obviously sent some stuff, and I was like, you can check it out. You're gonna hate it. I was like, I'll listen to it. You know what I mean?
I didn't think it would be your thing.
Well, the thing is, like people send me stuff all the time to listen to. I'm like, oh god, man, here we go. But I mean, if you're, if I'm friends with somebody, because I think we're friends, kind of friends, maybe she's like, we're not friends, but whatever. Thought we were. So, so I was like, yeah, I'll listen to it. And I was like, no, I was like, this is pretty good. I was like, there was a few parts, like one of the clean parts of one of the bands. I was like, I didn't really like this. But I was like, this is pretty damn good. The song Death was good. Yeah. And I was like, it's funny, the thing that popped in my mind. I was like, the vocals remind me of Zach from Necrofilth, another local Ohio band. I don't know if you're too familiar with Necrofilth or not.
I wasn't, but then when you said that, I was like, I should probably give that a listen.
Yeah, so I don't know if I'm way off. You're like, I don't sound anything like this bozo. But I thought I was like, yeah, this is it kind of reminds me of a female version of Necrofilth, because he's not like, his vocals they're not like death metal, but they're not thrash metal. They're not like, they're in that in between where you're like, they kind of fits for.
Yeah,
that was the best way I could. That's the first thing that popped in my mind that I could just compare it to if somebody was to ask.
And I remember like when I first sent you something, it was like we were talking about. I was like, dude, this fucking, because I was sending my shit out there, and then this dude's all like into metal. He's like, yeah, this needs to be more produced and polished. And I'm like, fucking Big Metal did this shit. Like,
who's Big Metal? They don't know. For people that don't know.
Well, like Midnight is probably the most notable. Like Satanic Royalty, which is my favorite, he did that, and I just like his approach. Like I don't like, I say this, and I like early new metal stuff, but like things get too polished, and to me it can be like, that's not quite like what metal is. Metal is supposed to be dirty, raw. I like punk. I like, like just some character to it. Like I like small shows a lot of times. I just like the energy, the vibe, like. When you can hear the amp, it's not over filtered, processed. You don't have a bunch of, specific sound engineers, and this is just like a raw, very like, I like that sound in my music still. And so it was like interesting to get so much of that feedback back from people. It's like, dude, we went somewhere pretty reputable to get this done, and I like how it sounds. Like, you should hear our first recording then, if you're saying that. And I was like, because you talk about that a lot too on your show, where you're like, dude, if it's going to be metal, it's got to be raw, it's got to be.
Yeah, when people say that, I automatically just disregard their opinion. I'm like, that doesn't even make sense, because it's one thing if you're talking about Mayhem, pure fucking Armageddon demo, where you listen like, this is literally unlistenable ass. I can't even hear the vocals. That's different. But I mean, like, me as a young age, I was handed, the death demos, Mantis demos. I'm like, yeah, sounds good enough. And I remember when those were being sold on a bootleg CD. Those came out in the early 2000s on bootleg. But prior to that, they were never available on the cassettes. That's how I was introduced to them. All the demos, Mantis demos, to the other Total 5 Death demos released on these bootleg CDs. And they came in through Hells, and we were selling them. And some people were like, they don't sound very good. It's like, the fuck do you want from a 1984 demo band? You know, when this music was not even in existence, recorded in a garage. What did you have in '84 that sounded better? Like, what do you want? And also, you can hear everything. You can hear Cam Lee's vocals, and like to me, that was good enough. So to me, that was fine. When they're saying shit like yours, it's not polished enough. What?
Like that's the point. Like,
Yeah.
I want it to be that fine line, like where you can hear things. I mean, Carcass is a good example too. Like how, like Reek of Putrefaction, the band has said long time and time again, the recording, the engineering, but at that time, no one knew how to record that or capture that music.
Yeah.
And I still think like when people lack a certain respect, I don't know if that's the right word, for that raw sound, that like we're just trying to figure shit out, and you know, then get to the point where, okay, yeah, we figured shit out. Even like thrash did that, like Anthrax, after Neil Turbine, right? That was who did Fistful of Metal, and then Joey came in, and I think it was Spreading the Disease, and that album's never really like hit me, like, but like Among the Living, fuck yeah, dude, they figured shit out. I think like a lot of bands have that.
Well, so the first two Anthrax you don't really like that much?
No, the first one's great.
So Spreading the Disease you don't like that much?
No, it's not that I don't like. I'll listen to it. It's
my favorite one.
But I hear a lot of people say that, and to me, I just think the band had, like, I feel like when you listen to Joey specifically, like that's like where he really got his voice more later, and yeah, that's just my opinion. I'm not saying like it's like.
Well, you liked way further in their catalog than I did.
I love John Bush.
You sent me a couple of things. I was like, I'll put it on. And what was it? What's that?
Sound of White Noise.
What's that Garbage Can album with the rolling garbage thing?
Stomper.
Yes, Stomp the Homeboys or whatever it's called.
I'm gonna fuck shit up too.
I put it on. I was like, oh, it's in the shop. I'll put it on. And I was like, yeah, not loving it, but I was like, it's better than I expected it to be.
Yeah.
It had some parts that were catchy and cool, but I'm like, yeah.
I mean, to me, really like peak Anthrax for me personally. Sound of White Noise. I really love that record. I love the songwriting. I love his vocals. I really like.
What's the one with the rap track?
With the Bring the Noise.
Whatever the rap song is on. What is that on?
Public Enemy. Oh God.
Oh, okay.
I feel retarded.
So you don't like that one?
No, I wouldn't say. Look, I like Anthrax in general.
Okay.
Like if
every album began then, huh? All killer,
no
no filler.
No. I wouldn't say that. Like they're definitely one of those bands. One, I have to be in the mood for it. I have, like there's certain songs that I'll skip on certain albums, or like if I was making a mix, I'd be like, okay, and cherry pick certain titles from it. Actually, there's very few bands that I would be like, start to finish, perfect catalog. Like, I don't even know if I can say that about a band, honestly.
No bands? I thought you liked every Carcass record.
I do like every... I like every Carcass record. I don't necessarily... Like, Torn Arteries, I'm not throwing on all the time.
They haven't put one out after that, have they?
Since Torn Arteries? No.
Because I actually haven't even officially listened. That's the only one I haven't listened to. And the only reason I didn't is because they did that 10-inch prior.
The Scalpel and the Blade or whatever.
There was two 10-inch. There was the one, not the outtakes from Surgical Steel.
No, the one that
not this. I'm not talking about that. There's another 10-inch.
Another one in there.
It came in through the shop, and I listened to it. I'm like, yikes and gadzooks. I was like, I don't like this at all. So then when Torn Arteries came out, first thing I saw the title. I was like, that's a cool ass title. Then I saw the cover. I'm like, this is gay as shit looking. And I never listened to it.
Somewhere, but it was that it had that Under the Scalpel Blade song on it, which, I mean, that made me a little apprehensive about Torn Arteries, but they definitely do some throws. I don't want to hate on it because there are a lot of parts of it. Like, I really like some of the guitar work, especially, and it's one of those, like, is that going to be one of these ones after so many years of just throwing it on here and there? I'm like, you know what, dude, this is a fucking killer record.
Sometimes that happens, yeah.
Yeah, but Surgical Steel, I fucking love that record. That's probably my favorite Carcass at this point.
Oh, really? Oh, so you like that better than like Sympathies of Sickness and all that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh wow, that's a bold statement.
It is. I
Yeah.
know.
I know somebody that said that the best Carcass record is Swan Song. Told it to somebody else. I almost fell off the fucking boat when I heard that.
I know people who.
Because I like Swan Song too. I was like, but I would by no stretch of the definition call it the best album.
No, I don't know that I'd call it the best album, but it's like so many people get mad at Carcass because they didn't stay in that like gore grind bubble. But then like I don't know, when I look at their like Bill or Jeff's like music outside of Carcass, and you can see like just like their appreciation for music that isn't extreme or isn't like I see how they got there. Bill is a phenomenal guitar player, and like I think he brings a lot more blues into like Torn Arteries than he did before. And what it is about Surgical Steel and how it kind of shaped up to be my favorite. One, it was the first time they recorded digitally, so I think like they were able. And I remember reading about it, and maybe I'm remembering wrong, but I want to say that Bill did. He used like a metal zone pedal, like some sort of like just like basic metal zone pedal, 5150 head Marshall cab, and that's like just dialed in as guitar tone with the Les Paul, and the solos on that record, and just they're memorable. They're so memorable, every single song. Because I can be kind of like, as even as a guitarist, I'm not much of a lead guitar player, but when I listen to like to have a solo that actually like sticks with me, where I'm like, oh, I can remember how that goes and I know the next notes. Like I just thought that was so well done. And maybe because it was the hiatus that they were on forever, like where they really took time with those songs that they didn't between that and Torn Arteries. I don't know.
No, I get what you're saying, because certain guitar solos that stick out to me, yeah, exactly. They stick out in your mind. They're memorable for whatever reason. They just bring a feel to you.
Mm-hmm.
I have my favorites too, and they're the ones no one will ever say. Some people wouldn't even know the references. And it's just because, I don't know, for whatever reason, it just hit me like two that stand out. One, I said it, I told Bob Vigna in person from Immolation, one of my favorite guitar solos of all time is from my favorite Immolation song ever, from Nail to Gold, first song on Here and After. Guitar solo, and that's one of my favorite guitar solos ever. And another one, you'll never hear another human being on the face of this planet say this. 99.9% of these fucking canoes watching the goddamn channel right now, they won't even know the song. Half of them won't even know the goddamn band. Is a band Desecration from Ollie. Where are you from? I know you don't like saying that you're from London, goddammit. You're from fucking England, though, goddammit. We're somewhere in England. I don't know the geographical areas. It's based Wells. I think Welsh, something
Welsh,
like that. I think he's Welsh. Here he gets pissed if you say it wrong. He might cut me some slack though. Watch out for that goddamn Gore Perversion on vinyl coming out Hills next goddamn year. Set up by the Dawg, of course. Anyways, their fourth album, Pathway to Deviance, song called Cleaver Saw Butcher's Knife. Presumably, I'm making educated assumptions about Albert Fish. The guitar solo on that, I fucking love it. It just sounds like dark, and it just sounds scary almost. You'll never hear someone say that.
No.
Ever.
I'm gonna have to check it out too. Like my favorite Carcass one on Surgical is that non-compliance to.
I gotta listen to Surgical. I own the LP and see it. I liked it, but I didn't love it. I'm like, It would have felt like when I listened to it, because I picked it up the week it came out. I'm like, Carcass is back. It's like it guys feels like it felt like it was cash grab metal. I'm like, but it's played well. It's a decent record. Jeff Walker's voice sounds like Jeff Walker. I think I was just a little irritated by them because I've heard stories from reliable sources for people that actually know them. Like, for example, on the Death Tour in 1990, when they did the U.S. tour, the first time they ever came here for Symphonies of Sickness, Death was on Spiritual Healing. Death was headlining, and I believe it was Pestilence on as well. Carcass was on Symphony of Sickness. When they were here, Jeff was just bitching the whole time down the scenes. I don't even know why anybody cares about this stupid death metal. Just bitching. Just, why does anyone even like this shit? And just, you get these a bad taste in your mouth. And then, as much I do like Heartwork, I think that's a really good album. Carnal Forge is great. The title track Heartwork is amazing. I think the guitar solo's not that great. No Love Lost, though, kind of gay.
I mean, I like it. That was actually one of the first Carcass songs I learned how to play.
I remember, that was Brian Baxter. I remember when I fucking met Baxter early on. It's probably like maybe the 10th time talking to him. And I knew surely, I'm like, he likes early Carcass. I was like, Brian, what do you think about Heartwork? Oh, bro. He's like, when that came out, I picked it up. I saw No Love Lost. Please tell me it ain't so. He's like, bro, it don't get any gayer than that.
I mean, I think like the most cringe thing they did was like the Black Star. Won't you be my guide? You know, like
It's kind of cheesy,
twinkle,
yeah.
twinkle.
I think a lot of people ripped on.
Like,
I think people ripped on the most was probably "Keep on Riding in the Free World." I like it
I
though.
love that.
I think that's a good
I'm
song.
a huge Neil Young fan.
Yeah, I thought I thought it was kind of clever, cool, you know, because yeah, exactly the reference and then rotting. They're singing. I thought it was. I thought it was
like
cool.
it. Well, and it fits the whole context of the album. I mean, I'm not Jeff Walker. I can't for sure say that's what he's doing, but it was a very political album, and I really like those like anti-utopian novels, like your there was some references, or like Room 101 is actually in George Orwell's 1984.
Well, shit, you know
like,
more about that I do, yeah.
So, well, I mean, I don't know if that was the intention
okay, yeah.
ever, but that was like, you know, just the things that they were that the lyrical themes of that album and everything. I thought it all fit really well. And like you hear so much bashing of it, you know, like it's in circles. You're like, oh, we want to say too much. But I feel like if you're under, at this point, probably like 45, like you might like that album. But there's
if you're under 45,
okay, maybe under 42.
well, I'd say under 30.
So like that, no, because I know a lot of people my age that really? They like,
because I liked it. No, back when I picked that up, I think it was in 99. Yeah. 90, no, before that, no. 98.
Because when did that come out? 95?
96, I think.
96?
Yes, I think Heartworks 94, and I think Swan Song was 96.
I
got it in 98, and I liked it, and I didn't know anybody that liked it. I knew some people that liked Heartwork. It was hit or miss. As a matter of fact, I thought the people I jived with really well was the guys from Exhumed when I first met them. It was both Cole Jones, the original drummer, and Matt Harvey. They both said, my favorite Carcass albums is in order, Symphonies of Sickness, and then Heartwork. I'm like, huh. I was like, I like Heartwork. I was like, I didn't expect you guys to say that, especially being a gore band.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I love that album. And then I was like, do you like Swan Song? Oh, no,
Dude,
I like that. I didn't know anyone that liked it.
No, like my ex hated on it so bad. Like, and that'd be one of those, like, if I wanted to get the record room to myself, I'd fucking put Swan Song on.
Yeah.
And there we go. Problem solved.
Yeah.
But I like it. I like that they experiment. Another thing I loved about it, like as a woman, they weren't the ones like, not that, I mean, I listen to Cannibal Corpse and shit. It's not like I have an issue. Well, you know, like obviously no woman wants misogyny and everything, but like you look at Corpse Grinder and you're not like, oh yeah, that dude beats women, you know, like he's a very like wholesome kind of guy. Like, yeah. But you know, what was cool about Carcass is they were like, oh, well, what if we did this to dudes? Like,
well, you realize, I don't know if you picked up on that. I mean, I didn't as a kid. I did probably when I was about 20 and said in interviews. You realize the Cannibal Corpse Vile album, the first one, Corpse Grinder, that's the first one. It's about killing dudes. That's why the guys go gut it out and his dick and balls are hanging out. And songs like Orgasm Through Torture, you know, she rips my cock up with her teeth.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't fully pick up on that.
Yeah.
No.
Perverse Suffering, listen, yeah. Boiling Sawn Off Testicles, that's one of the line. Yeah, it's all about killing because they were getting criticized, you know, stripped, raped, and strangled. I come blood.
Yeah.
Entrails ripped from a virgin's cunt. All about that. And I think it was Alex Webster. And he's like, okay, you guys complain. All right, well, we could kill men too. So he's like, that's what that.
We just want it to be gory. It's this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, like I'm saying, like you can sing about whatever, grotesque. You know, I mean that's kind of the genre, right? Mm-hmm. But it's it was just like, to me, Carcass was the first one I really.
Well, so what do you think's like, the best Cannibal album then?
Whew, that's like the one that I listened to first, and I still go back to this day, and it's probably not like everyone. I love Bloodthirst.
So do I. That's my second favorite Corpse Grinder album. That's the tour I saw him on first time.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I was.
Yeah.
That was like the most recently released when I had listened to him for the first time.
Yeah, Pound in the Dust, I think is one of the best songs ever written.
I love the Ecstasy and Decay too. Mm-hmm. Like, but then like, you know, you say that and people are like, fucking Chris Barnes,
not as much as you would think though, because in the comments a lot of people are like, dude, best Cannibal ever is Gore Obsessed. I'm like, I was like, it's kind of cool to hear. I mean, I don't personally think that. I mean, I like it, but I was like, that's cool to hear that because I was like, yeah, 20 years ago, nobody was saying that. It was either butchered at birth, tuned to me. It's
Yeah.
always the same answer.
Oh, and if you ask me like which ones I grabbed on vinyl first, those would be the two
Yeah,
that I got. But no, I mean, there's such like Ace Ventura. Like, was really like, which I didn't know until like I watched like footage and the dudes talking about like, oh no, Jim Carrey fucking you knew his shit, and because like I always kind of wondered like, was it like an actual like, was he super into that? Because that was like one of my heroes growing
Jim
up.
Carrey?
Like, oh god, yeah, like I had just anything that dude did, I'd watch, I'd see. I loved his manners, and like the first time I really remember being like, oh, dudes and chicks are very different. Like me and a group of my guy friends and my parents are all hanging out. You know, it's like one of those like family functions, but the kids are hanging out. We were taking turns like bending over and be like, ladies and gentlemen, listen. When I did it though, like the parents were like, whoa,
yeah.
like you can't do that, you're a chick. Like they didn't say that exact thing, but like in my head, I'm like, why is this like, why is it not okay when I bend over and try to make something funny?
You talking about Tech Talk on your ass like he talks to cop?
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen.
The first time I saw that movie, I was young. I mean, it was probably the year it came out, or maybe the year after. That was for sure at the point one of the funniest movies I've ever seen.
Oh
when
yeah.
I first I was laughing my ass off. Even just the opening scene with the package, exaggerating how the postal service. Not even that exaggerating. The postal service, how they some of the packs we've received through Hell's, it looks like a goddamn elephant sat on it. Every time I see it, it's like, yep, Jim Carrey delivered this goddamn thing. Ace. Yeah. So yeah. What year did they come out? 95?
I don't. The second one too.
I saw the second one in the theater. In case you happen to give a fuck.
Same. And
did you
when I went to, I was like Disney World or Universal, one of those like trips my parents took me on, because it was the year that came out. They had this big, you know, the things like the cutouts where you put your head through it, and it was the scene with the alligator. So the alligator's like this. So I'm like hanging out of the cardboard, and my parents still have that picture. But he was like, him and Adam Sandler loved, like my brother and I.
You don't think Adam Sandler's like the Steven Seagal of comedy?
Huh?
Yeah, like for example, don't get me wrong, I like some Adam Sandler movies. He's got some good movies. I'm not saying I don't like anything about him. Just like I like some Steven Seagal movies. My God, that guy's got some bad ones though. But what I mean by
like later on.
No, what I mean by Adam Sandler, Steven Seagal of comedy is he's literally one character. He does the baby voice and it's like the same thing in our movie. I'm like, dude, get a different shtick for fuck's sakes. With Steven Seagal, it's just whisper and fake karate movies.
I don't agree because like especially like his like the movies he's evolved to. I'm not saying I love all of them, but he's like stepped into more characters now. Like Billy Madison, that was like a staple of my childhood. Stop looking at me, Swan. No.
Do you want to see a movie though that's so bad that
Water
it's good?
Boy, Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, but those are early. Yeah, those are
like early Adam Sandler and Jim Carrey. Like that's the stuff. Like
even those later Jim Carreys, you agree they kind of got stinky. I'm talking around 2008.
Like, well, I think he got more, like, he took on some more serious roles. And I actually think, like, because he was trying to like, break that whole, like, I'm just this funny dude.
No, I think so, too. Yeah, like, I think that's exactly what it was.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind or whatever that was with him and Kate Winslet. Like, that movie was so sad.
Did I see that one?
It was so good.
No, yeah, I didn't think
and it was so outside of everything that he had done at that point. And
do you like Cable Guy?
That was good too. Like
yeah,
that was
because everybody hated that. Saw that at the theater too. In case you haven't give a fuck. I liked it from day one, but everyone hated it when it came out. Like the reviews and stuff. I thought it was really funny.
Because I think it's the same thing with metal, and a band gets into a genre and known for one thing. So the second you step outside that, the second you add any kind of nuance to what you're doing, you know, people just flip out. They react because they get they cling on to this like one version of things. I mean, and I think that's why we have such like a hostile culture in general anymore. Like you can't say, you know, you say something as a joke and then everybody tells you how fucking offensive it is, or how like there's just there's no room for like nuance anymore. Like, and like, I mean, we'll even see this sometimes with like OC, because like Sean, if he like talked to the wrong person or liked the wrong post, like there's like a fucking Reddit thread about it, and it's like, bro, like this isn't the same thing as like someone going out and openly declaring they're a Nazi. Like I don't think people understand how hard it is to like, I mean, get on shows, get on like be in a band, and then you can't step one toe out of line, or oh no, it's sketch now. But I do think like there's a place for criticism, and like obviously, you and I have talked about that before. I'm like, that stuff's a little too sketch for me personally.
I like the sketch.
I know.
Actually, the thing is, the funny part is, most of the shit I don't even like. I was like, this is fucking garbage. I will say this: I listened to a sketch band. I'm like, gotta say, this is pretty fucking good. We got them in? I don't know what. I'm one of those fucking weirdo labels. Band's called Moose Gut. Stupid as hell name, cool logo, and it's got a inverted pentagram. I think it's got a tiny little swastika. I'm like, oh, you can't just offend the Christians. You gotta hit them both. And I'm like, all right, whatever. I'll put it on. Is NLP? I'm like, this is actually pretty good. And I go there, with a negative mindset of like, this shit fucking usually sucks, because I've heard a bunch of it. I'm like, it's all garbage. But it sounds a lot like Goat Moon.
And I never really gave them the time of day, just because
the thing is, I knowing how you are, cause for a while there too, when I hear Goat Moon, I'm hear black metal, I hear like that, I'm like, oh god, here we go. And you put it on, you're like, I can't help but admit that this is actually good. I'll give you another little story how their songs stand out. My uncle, R.I.P., he was helping in the warehouse a little bit. This guy's in his 60s, right?
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned Slayer, he'd be like, who? What it like? And he doesn't know any, like knows not in the metal remotely.
Yeah.
Sitting there eating his Cheez-Its, casing up some CDs, and I had Goat Moon on, the Varjot album. He's like, who are you listening to? I'm like, Goat Moon. This is pretty good. Like, you joking? You fuck with me? No, this is pretty damn catchy. So that's what I thought. I was like, oh, it's good, isn't it? So yeah, this is pretty good. I was like, yeah. That's what I thought.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like the guitar tone, like I just don't. Me personally, when there's like, I mean, such a saturation. There's so much music out there. So many things you can listen to. Like, I'm just not opting for, the guy with the fucking swastika on his chest.
I get it too.
They put it back behind him. And I think the part that, like, gets me is just, like, how so much of those bands are, like, for people who say that they're not political, it's like, it's funding a whole political movement, though. So, like, how can you say on one hand, like, I don't know. Like, it's just not for me. I'm not like anyone who listens to it. Am I going to be like, oh, you're fucking racist now? You're this. No. I mean, I can't talk. I fucking grew up with Pantera. I followed everything Phil did, and he came out and did.
He's got Confederate flags on his shit, for fuck's sakes.
And you do hear, like, I'm not excusing.
No, you can defend them from the South. It's not the point. It was the rebel flag.
Yeah, loser. Like, you guys lost, but we're still celebrating.
What I'm just saying, it's like you can I could see both sides.
Yeah.
It's like I didn't make the argument because I don't give a fuck. But I'm just saying I could see their argument. Like, what are you talking about? You got nothing to say about them? Or Slayer, Angel of Death. It's literally about Nazis' time defending the Aryan race.
The whole fucking album.
No, but nobody's got nothing to say about that. I'm like, you people don't make any fucking sense. But with the Cavalt black metal Goat Moon and Argyle Slint and GBK, some of that stuff I like. First GBK, I think the album's great. Shem Farash is an amazing black metal song. What annoys me about those bands, not the bands themselves, it's the fan base. Because I think most of those guys are just full-blown fucking posers. And what I mean by that is, the only reason half you idiots like that shit is because of the controversy. Yeah. You took away the lyrical content, just put in random lyrics, Deicide lyrics, Cannibal Corpse. I was like, their popularity cut in half, guaranteed. Well, guaranteed.
Yeah,
I was like, you only like it for that reason,
for the shock value. And that's such a staple of extreme music, not even just metal. Like the shock value, you're fuck the police with NWA.
Mm-hmm.
Like shock value is such a staple to any genre, and so like that's where like. When Phil went under fire, like Phil was, for me, like when it comes to Pantera, like Phil was like one of the first people I really remember being like, oh, they released, he's on this, he's doing this project, now this. And I would like follow that. And it introduced me to, opened up to like tons of genres. And I had a whole phase where like, if your band wasn't from New Orleans, I don't think I listened to it. And that was largely influenced by him. But do I think like, do I agree with everything he says? Do I understand why some of my friends who are more concerned about, just like having a more compassionate, I guess, lack of a better word, music scene and their criticisms of them, do I get it? Yeah, absolutely. But at the end of the day, like, I can't help but like when I hear a Pantera record, like kind of be transported to that younger self where you're like, this introduced me to so
Of course.
much. And
I always say that. The
it,
first thing I've said it, Afnar said it, multiple. What you hear at 13, 14, 15 is what's going to stick with you forever
yeah.
as your introduction to music. And for mine, it's Sacred Reich Ignorance. So when people like, you think that's the greatest thrash? I didn't think it's the greatest thrash record. I understand that by definition it's not, but it's one of my favorites because it's literally the first metal record I heard.
Yeah.
Like it changed everything. So yeah, it's stuck with me like, holy shit, this is the greatest thing ever.
And that's like where it's hard to be like too woke or too this, especially when you do come, like when you're our age and you grew up with metal, like you can't be away from, you know, Rain and Blood is a perfect example. So much of that record, it's about, but that's, I mean, we have a whole genre like war metal, the Panzerfaust getting canceled in Columbus over largely nothing. Like I don't know the ins and outs of their, like I don't personally think that if you don't like vaccines that makes you a Nazi, you know.
Right,
like
yeah.
I'm like, you know, how can on one hand we say like you have a choice, like I want a choice as a woman what I can do with my body and reproductive rights, but then I can turn around on the other hand and be like, you don't get a choice, you just got to get fucking vaccinated and that's it. Like I that's where people just don't have space for nuance or personal choice, letting people figure shit out, what they want to do, and for them to get canceled because of their name. And I don't think, I mean, that particular Dark Throne album might be problematic when you look at the translations of certain things.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that. I didn't make, when I saw that skiing ass shit, I didn't make it that far.
But it's like, to me, it's just like, one of those, they're a war metal band. It's named after like Slayer, Rain and Blood. Like that was like metal as a genre. They sing about the grotesque, the fucked up things of the world. Do I think that means that everyone in Slayer, because they sang about a fucked up period in time, is a Nazi? No, my brain never made that connection.
That was my defense on the Goat Moon. That's why I said that's what because it was before I even knew about all this Antifa and bullshit like that when I heard these bands. And I don't know, they're singing about extreme top. Like it didn't cross my mind. I was like, I don't know. Like I just didn't think, I don't think like that.
Yeah. I
just put it all together. It's extreme metal. It's like, I don't know, Butchered at Birth, that's some pretty, if you put it in reality, I was like, that's some pretty fucked up shit. As a matter of fact, that's way worse than being a Nazi. If somebody's chopping up babies, I think that's worse than being somebody not liking somebody's skin color. I'm just saying, I think. Yeah, I think that's a little worse.
Like.
But I mean, so like, I just lumped it all in one. I don't know. They're singing about scary topics. Yeah, it's metal.
That's metal.
What's the problem? Well, I don't want to overstate my goddamn welcome, but I gotta ask because people are gonna fucking tear me a new one if I don't. You got the goddamn Bob shirt on. You got the Bob record. People call me the Sponge Dog. Like, what am I missing? What's the reference?
Okay, well, I don't fully get why they use Sponge Dog because like when they first happened, Lindsay can attest to this. When like it first started getting like people are making the comments, I sent her this clip because I was like, I really want to make this a meme, but I felt like you were getting too much shit. But they're outside of the Salty Spittoon and there's this dude, he goes on, he's like, you gotta have muscles on your muscles, you gotta have muscles on your eyeballs. And
I like his thought process.
Yeah. So like that to me, like that's who you reminded me of. And then if I had to pick like an actual staple regular character in SpongeBob, it would be Larry, the lobster lifeguard dude, because you know.
So I'm Larry the Lobster.
Yeah, in my view.
Yeah, okay.
So maybe I need to stop calling you Sponge.
Yeah, you call me Lobster Man, Lobster Dog, or whatever.
Help them think of names now. No, I told you before, I love SpongeBob. Like my mom swore.
Yeah, but you're also chicks. You get a pass. I just said.
Oh, is that what it is? No,
I was like, just like for example, Big D says a man can't put ketchup on a hot dog. I was at a party putting my ketchup on a hot dog. What are you doing, dude? It's like, what do you mean? It's like, a real man don't put ketchup on a hot dog. Like, what do you mean?
I thought you couldn't eat hot dogs.
He's like, little kids and girls put ketchup on a hot dog. He's like, go to a goddamn biker bar, order a hot dog, and put ketchup on it. It's like they're dragging you out to the parking lot and they're beating you an inch from your life. I'm sure glad I'm not at a biker bar.
I mean, like.
I don't know. Ask Big D.
Well, I even think about like I have guy friends that are like, no, dude, you don't eat bananas or hot dogs in front of other people. like no dick foods.
So you're not even on a house. Awesome.
No dick foods in front of other people. If you're a chick, sure.
Yeah. See, chicks are allowed to eat hot dogs and they're allowed to listen to SpongeBob. So
poor guys.
Well,
yeah, it's so rough.
So check out goddamn Avowal. I'm pronouncing it right.
Yes.
They played our show. seemed like people liked them.
And we're going on tour.
Yeah.
So a small one on the East Coast.
Playing tonight.
Playing tonight. We're playing Chicago next weekend. So
keep your goddamn eyes peeled. She says she has physical format. I haven't never seen it, but they definitely got a Bandcamp. So
I'm gonna hook you up right after the show.
So it's on Bandcamp, right? You can buy it on Bandcamp.
Yeah, Bandcamp. Yep.
Yeah.
CDs.
So there you go. So later, goddamn it.